Welcome to the second podcast. We've had a lot of good reviews about the first podcast, so I'd like to welcome you to our second one. I'm hoping now that these are going to be more regular. Today we're going to wrap up what we talked about in the last podcast. So in the first one we've bumped into a bunch of people. As you see, I've got Hector with me here again today. But we spoke to a couple of people about how the first podcast went and they liked it. We had some mixed reviews. We had some about they went a bit longer, some went a little bit shorter. So what we're going to try and do, we're going to keep learning. And as we go and take each podcast, we'll shorten some up for some bite size, maybe pre-games and post-game kind of reporting. And then we'll also do some longer podcasts based on some of the subjects that you guys have wanted to hear about and talk about. And again, remember to comment in below whenever you watch this video. So today, just an overview of today. What we've done since the last podcast. Well, we've had a game. So we had a scrimmage set up for Sunday. We're going to have a guest come on board with us in just a second. It's actually a player that we had signed probably about a week ago. I think the reveal came out yesterday, or maybe Sunday actually. So we're going to have him come in. So we'll introduce him in a second. But before we just introduce him, we're just going to go over a little bit about how we got to the game, who we played against, and then anything that's happened in between since really our last podcast. So yeah. Hector, what have we got to so far?
Yeah, so we had an eventful Sunday. First scrimmage against a competitive team, North Texas Stampede. At the Foro Soccer Complex in Plano. Nice little field that they had out for us out there, and they hosted us. Gave us a nice little time to train beforehand to see the turf and everything, and then get the whole core of the players together. But as the game went on, we finally got to see the players in action, and it was exciting to see the start of something new.
So on that game, I came up and started watching a little bit. Yeah. Did we have our full complement of players? Did we have new players? What was the general overview of what we had coming in to what you were thinking?
So we were missing I wouldn't say a good amount, 5 or 6 players that have been throwing their hat in the ring for maybe even starter rotation positions, and but with them out of the way, it gave other players that might have not been in that rotation a chance to prove themselves. And we definitely saw some things in certain players that brought new questions and, put that little edge to the players that didn't show up for that Sunday for whatever reason they didn't decide to be a part of.
Make it.
Yeah, they couldn't make it. It gave us another thought process of, all right, this player can do this A, B, and C for us.
Okay, good. So we were going to do, we're going to go over that game a little bit later, more in depth about how the game went and what we were trying to look for, what the coaching staff were looking for. But we might as well introduce you now to our guest today. So this player we've known for, well, actually Hector known him for quite a while. Yeah. And you'll know why in a minute. So we're going to introduce him out. So Angel Medel, we're going to have him come out. Alright, so here we have Angel Medel. Angel is a senior at Red Oak School. He has just signed for the UPSL team and played in the scrimmage this past weekend. And Raymond obviously got a historic moment because Raymond Kennedy scored the first goal off of a corner. And if you go to our Facebook page and even the YouTube page, we've got a couple of the highlights there of both the corner that Ray finished and then Angel of the dummy free kick that left the goalkeeper standing still. So Angel, tell us a little bit about your background, how you came to start playing soccer and I guess to this point now.
Well, I started playing soccer when I was 4 in Lancaster in a little league. Then a coach saw us play. His name was J.P. Suarez, and he had a team also in the league, and he built up a club called Revolution, and that's where I began learning the basics and developing my playing style. Then after that, I went to Barcelona, where I got coached with my dad and a family friend. His name is Jose. Then from there I went to Mansfield Samba, and that's when I learned, that's when I experienced that you have to earn your time. It's not just going to be given to you. So then from that experience, I took it to Wizards in Division 1, and it was the same experience. First year, had to earn my time. It wasn't just given. Stayed there another year, earned the time. Then I got looked at by FC Dallas and got asked to guest play in Dallas Cup. From there, I signed with FC Dallas, and now I continue being with them and continue playing in the Dallas Cup, which is one of the biggest tournaments in youth soccer.
In America. So tell us what you're graduating this year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he's currently right now at FC Dallas, and he'll be graduating in 2019. So this year. So have you got any ideas on college yet?
Well, I was thinking of starting at a JUCO and then slowly going into a 4-year school, just so I can get the experience and the feeling of how college would be, and not going straight into a college life.
Gotcha. So we're going to roll it back a little bit and talk to Angel about how and who he has been coached under, and really how his journey led to signing for us in the last couple of weeks. Now, it must be said also that Angel's also played for our elite team, the City FC group, played in the MPL, so he's not a stranger to the club, and he's guest played for us in a bunch of things. But when you were playing for the Wizards, who was your coach of the Wizards?
His name was Jose Luis Burciaga Jr. He played professional soccer with Kansas City Wizards, and he helped me develop speed and more conditioning and strengthening wise, showing us how it's not just going to be technical the whole game, but who's going to give the last push in the last minute of the game.
So his experience from playing with Kansas City and in Major League Soccer, that wore off on you a little bit in practice in the games?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So from Barcelona, how long were you at the Barcelona club for?
About maybe four years.
And where did they play?
Out of Arlington.
Out of Arlington. So in the youth side, most of you are going to watch this podcast know about what leagues we got around here. So Angel's been around a bit longer than some of our younger teams here. So Arlington was the go-to then. The Wizards played in Classic League Boys. Of course, with City FC, he played back then. The first one he played in would be the South Central region, when we played against the Houston teams, Austin teams, Dallas teams, and Oklahoma, what became Oklahoma Energy, which back then was Oklahoma City. Well, how did you find those games? Did you?
Those were completely different than what I would call regular league games. It was kind of quick. Some games were quicker. Some games were just more physical. You just had to adapt to the team that you were playing against.
In what way?
And for example, Oklahoma, they had more speedsters, so they'll play more touch long. And when we'll go to Houston, it was more physical games. So you had to adapt to being more stronger on the ball, knowing your surroundings, other than just being able to mark one player and or just read the pass and go.
Okay, so some good points there. Different areas around, different clubs have got different philosophies, just like we do at Storm and at City, and that also goes into the UPSL. Different styles, and we're going to see a lot of different styles when we come up against some of the teams in the UPSL, some experienced coaches and players out there. So we're going to move on a little bit from your youth experience now, and of course he is still in the youth program. He's still got one more year in the youth, just like a couple of our homegrown academy players. They're still in our program as juniors and seniors as well. So what made you want to try out for the UPSL men's team with Storm?
Well, my dream was to go play pro, and there's a pro development pathway for a player. And I just figured, if we have coaches who have experience of the game, who's been traveling all over the U.S., playing different tournaments, showcasing. Why not give it a try and try out to see if I'll make it, then hopefully develop to where I want to be, which is a pro level.
Good. And here, of course, we talked about our player development pathway. There's a clear, defined pathway to get to the USL, which we're hoping a lot of players will take that route. And then, of course, the USL, they're trying to get them into the Major League Soccer side. So we hope that that's going to happen. So coming to the tryouts, we talked last week on the podcast about how we thought the talent coming into the tryouts, where we thought some of the players were. What do you think when you first came in? What did you first notice with the first tryout session when you came in?
what I first noticed was there was different groups, and then when it came down to scrimmaging, everybody came together as one. And the difference to me was it was quicker. The playing style was way quicker on the ball. It was just passing, switching the field, and more aggressive. Like it was like you cannot just go in weak because they're like grown men.
Right, right. So, what did you? Was there anybody that stood out for you during the tryouts? Thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna beat them.
I would say Joel Ramirez. He's probably, he knows he can control the game for us. And
of course, he was missing on Sunday.
Yeah, he was.
He's a co-pastor, so Sunday scrimmage wasn't the hottest time for him to play for us. So, well, who else? Anybody else?
I would say the other striker, Ryan. Ryan, he's strong on the ball and he's really fast. So I would like.
It's a good competition, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you made the team, so you made our 30-man roster. So that tells you something. So from here on out, of course, you've got to try and get that starting position. So let's roll on to Sunday. So Angel was involved in the game on Sunday. Didn't start, but we had, I think, 24 players there. We were missing
total.
26 total. So 26, a lot of players. Played 3/3, and then you came in on. Which third did you come in on?
The second. No.
End of the first.
Yeah, end of the first.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the first. So how did you find walking into that?
Me personally, I'm gonna say it took me a while to, like, how can I say it? To
Find
shoot
rhythm.
on goal?
Yeah, find rhythm.
Find rhythm.
It wasn't where I could just go in and impact the game right away how I do in like with my youth teams. It was more like being able to know, okay, this guy's here, he's gonna come at me hard. I gotta move the ball quicker, gotta just one touch or knowing when to take a touch. It was quicker, like I just had to adapt to it. And then by the time in the third quarter, I was able to adapt to it, had a couple of shots. And I had a feeling that I had to get one, and I got one.
I'll let you know what I found about the first couple of shots, but his free kick, when he won the free kick, there's no denying that was a tremendous free kick. Do you want to talk us through obviously getting the free kick and then what you were seeing before you took the shot? And if you hadn't seen the shot, please go back to our Facebook page and you'll see some of the clips there. It was a good looking shot. So talk us through a little bit what you're thinking, whether there's any talking or what you're seeing on the setup for you to take that shot.
Well, all I remember is, I had a couple of shots, and at first I was going to give it to Gamma. Gamma was the one that got fouled, and Gamma said, "No, you got it. It's going to be your goal. You take it." So I just looked at him. I grabbed the ball, placed it down, and then Steven asked me, "You got it?" And I said, "Yes," confidently. So Steven went up, made a little fake. While he was backpedaling back, I saw the goalie wasn't ready. And then when he set up, I saw the wall still moving a little bit this way. So I well, why not curl it around him? And I tried it. Sure enough, it went in.
And the keeper didn't move at all.
No, he stayed.
I heard him shout, and I was like, I think he just shouted, "Steve, take it," but he said, "Fake it." So we don't give away too many secrets, of course, with the UPSL coming up.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. But being one of the youngest players, what kind of confidence do you think it takes for a player to go up and take the ball and take the strike?
Good question, right?
Yeah. Say it's gonna take a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
My mindset is, don't think, you just got to follow through it. And if I would have overthinked it, we wouldn't know what would have happened. So I gotta say, I'm gonna give special thanks to Gamma for telling me, "Hey, he's gonna be in the goal." That actually gave me a little bit more confidence than what I had, because like I said, I had some couple shots before that were on target, off target, come for pretty bad off target. But
so
yeah,
when we took that free kick, that put us 2-1 up. We went 1-0 down pretty early in the game. I think I say pretty early. Second, third. So we're 1-0 down, and to be honest, I think it got on the back corner. Again, you can look up at the video and see it. Ray scored the first goal. For you to get the second goal, then talk to us a little bit about what you felt the opposition level was like, and let's come at it at a point of what you really think what do you feel was the talent of the opposition that we're playing against, so we get a good idea and the viewer gets a good idea of what type of opposition that we really played against?
Well, after Ray scored the first goal, the other team was getting more, like they started getting more vocal and they started pushing a little bit more. And when we got the second after the free kick, I noticed we tried to stay back a little bit to defend our lead, and then the other team, they started being more vocal, even more vocal, pushing even more, trying to go even more, build up more attackers, and they switched the formation to, I noticed they put 3 in the back, and they put it 5-2, and then it was just, I had to drop in a little bit more, help Steven, because Steven was asking to drop, so we just had to build up more, like vocally, just as how they were.
So out there, obviously, as a forward position, you're going to be mainly up against their defensive side, or maybe a couple of defensive defenders. How did you feel? How do they compare to what you play against in your? And this again, this was North Texas Stampede that we played against, and I think they were really a team that are a bunch of friends that came together to play. So we really didn't know what type of competition we're going to be up against. So what did you feel? What was the comparison that you could make on the play? What was more difficult in this game than at your Ciudad's game, and vice versa? What's more difficult at your Ciudad's game than it was at this game?
At this game, I'm gonna say winning the ball in the air. That was a really big struggle for me. The defender was probably 6'4", maybe 6'3". He took, and it was pretty.
It was pretty wide as well.
It was pretty hard going around him. I had to change like the way I ran my decision making on running through like the gaps. So there was times I had to go diagonal, there was times I had to go straight. Or there was even times where I just had to hold my run and wait because he would even like read it and push up. And then the only difference from that, from FC Dat, is where I play at, would be over there I guess it's more compacted than over here. Over here was more like the defenders knew how to stay wide in their positions. So it was kind of harder to just be like, alright, send me long, go through, because they were reading all of that. So it was a good challenge to me. It was, yeah, a really good challenge.
Now I know there's some of our younger players watching this podcast, and some really good points coming out there as a striker. If you heard what he was saying then, he had to readjust his types of runs, the diagonal runs, checking into the runs. It was hard for him to go around, it was hard for every ball, so he had to rethink about what he was trying to do. So some real good points coming out there from Angel. Anything else you want to say about the game or thought about the game?
I thought for it being our first game, I think we started off kind of timid and then slowly built up our confidence. And then after we got the first goal, it was a different team. It was more touching, more movement. After we got the second goal, same thing, more movement, more touching. And I just felt like we came as in one after we got the confidence up.
Good. So we're going to turn our attention to Hector here for a little bit. So obviously Hector, you and Sergio, we had no Robbie there for this game. Robbie had to do his 06 girls and he had a game that was conflicting, so he couldn't be there. So talk to us a little bit about how you felt the day went, how you felt the game went. What was the pluses, the minus? Talk us through a little bit.
So Sunday going in, we already started off on foot where we couldn't get into the complex right away.
Never a good start.
Yeah. The maintenance guy apparently set up the goals because it's all turf, and set up the goals, and when he was leaving, he happened to lock the door, and we had to wait for like 30 minutes with the guys outside. But once we got in there, everybody just took a time, 5-10 minutes to get accustomed to the field a little bit, and then we went into a little mini training session. Just getting movement on the ball, touches, because unfortunately a lot of these players do live a good, like I said last time, a good distance away from each other, that it's hard to get enough time with the boys to hit correct ideas and enforce it more upon themselves. But once we got the 11 ready, we situated ourselves for the first third, and like Angel said, it started very timid. You could see that players were afraid of making a mistake. They weren't challenging a certain attacker or a defender. They were deciding to do a safe pass, but it was a negative front where it was just pass back and then move it around. It wasn't trying to penetrate. It wasn't trying to find a creative outlet.
So on that, did you feel that the first lineup they put out with the system you put out, would you have changed things looking at that first setup? Would you have changed personnel? Would you have changed system? What were you thinking at that point?
The first 15 minutes, I felt that it was more of a confidence thing. I think they could have handled themselves all right. It just the confidence wasn't there.
Okay.
Now going into the second third, I definitely think that we were under pressure a lot more, and we probably could have adjusted a little bit better to maybe a different formation where it's more normal for a player to understand compared to what we normally run. And because there were spaces, positional, all our players have the technical ability to do the correct things in soccer, but at that certain time, certain players were in different positions and that they maybe were 2, 3, 4 yards to the left where they should have been instead of covering a correct space. But again, like I told them after that second third, it takes time to get into that rhythm, into that situation where yes, this is where I need to be, not to go bite and get caught out and rely on your players behind you to take care of that duty for you. And then once Angel said it perfectly, once we got those goals, you felt it, like you felt the pressure just ease up a little bit and the players relax and play their style. They were able to, Edgar was very instrumental, Edgar and Gama were very instrumental in moving side to side, pressuring and putting that high impact, high tackles that you need higher up on the field so it can relax a little bit for the team.
Well, I certainly was seeing that towards the end of the second third, and we played 3 thirds, I think we mentioned that before. The second third and definitely going into the final third. I did feel with the Gama, you put Gama in, Garrett came in towards the end of the second third. He's one of our academy players that are on the roster there. I think he done a great job in showing. Ball came in, he chested it, and then immediately with his next touch, he penetrated right behind the line, which I think it was Lewis.
No, it was...
Oh, was it you, Angel? And Angel straight on, which I thought was a great ending to that second side. But it took Gama and a couple of the other boys that had that more pressure in of the ball at the back. Before that, I felt we just sat back a little too much.
Yeah. I agree. And I think the substitutions when they went in, they also definitely went in with the mindset of, I need to earn my spot. So they need to show something out there.
That's good.
And yeah, that's exactly... I want those headaches. I want to be like, I have these 3 players and I can only take 2. And unfortunately, one's going to be left behind for that certain game. I don't like that, but that's great options for me to have, or great dilemmas to have.
Okay, good. So let's wrap up on the game there, because we did get 24 players in there. We were still missing some players and keepers, and we had one keeper that was missing, so we couldn't get to see to him to play. And a couple others. Max Ernest was missing with the Hill College. Nieto was missing. Stretch. We had Flew with a couple of others as well. In fact, some of the players that got the player reveals this past week weren't even there. And of course, Hoyle had his pastoral stuff. So if you were to wrap up what you felt about that game and what you're looking for in the next game, how did you feel it went?
What am I looking for in the next one?
Yeah, what can you take from this game and move on to the next game?
What I really want to take from is that it's going to take a lot of communication on the field. We had very timid voices, that players that I know can communicate. They do it on the practice field. But on the field, it just seemed like they were mute for some reason. I want to see it more upfront, more beat it out of the chest. Hey, demand a player, even though it might they don't want to offend a player or a teammate, to get them into their correct spots. Steven was actually one of the ones that was doing it the most. He was pulling in his center attacking mid, pulling in the winger when he could. But sometimes he was caught off because that player didn't listen to him.
Right.
So there's just that mutual cohesiveness. I think
so more game time.
Yeah, more game time. That's going to take repetition and getting used to the playing at this level also.
Well, before we move on to our next games, we'll talk about that in a minute and what's going to come up. We did put out earlier onto our Facebook page, and again, don't forget to like our Facebook page at Storm Football and the Facebook. don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, Storm Football Again, and go and subscribe to that so you can get these videos. We're definitely wanting people to come and watch them and get to grips with how the team's going along, and we're going to have a lot more than just Angel being our guests. So what we're going to do now, we asked our Facebook page earlier on today, it was a little late, about some questions that we can ask Mr. Angel here. So we've already talked a little bit about the games. Hector is going to go ahead and he's going to ask you some questions that the people on our Facebook nation wanted to hear. So let me just go back a little bit.
So we got a couple on here.
And tell them who's asking the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one you might know, little familiar face, Chucky Medel.
Oh, Chucky plays on, obviously his brother, but also plays on Coach Joe Stevens' 2007 boys.
He said, how does it feel to be in the pro development program?
It's quite exciting, very challenging, but it's a great experience.
So far, we're only just starting, so that's great already. Short answer, but let's...
Yeah, right? That was on that end. Hortensia Garcia says, who inspired you?
I'm going to say my parents inspired me. They've been through a lot of struggles, ups and downs. They still managed to put food on the table, clothes on our back, provided shelter, and they showed me that no matter how bad it could be, there's always a way out. And to never give up and just push through it, just keep moving on.
That's
what a great answer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's very good
parents.
Yeah, good parents. Good parenting right there.
I love the baby.
She asked 2 questions. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself...
Not flipping burgers, I hope.
No, hopefully with associates and playing the game I love in a pro level.
Okay. All right.
Good goals.
Yeah, nice steady goals. Do you have a plan in action for that? That's my personal question.
Well, like I said earlier, I'll go to college. Probably start off as a little small college first, or then transfer into a big college or university. Then study, get my associate's degree, study what I want to do, which is business, because I always need a backup plan.
Yep.
And then just see where this pro develop pathway could take me. Yeah,
that's fantastic. I think it's very good to have goals outlaid and written out. So just two tips right there. Daniel Ortiz asks, what is the best advice you have ever received?
Always stay humble, because not everything's guaranteed. Just a snap of your fingers to be taken away.
Always stay humble.
Short and sweet. I like it.
So,
is there any more questions?
Yes. Joel Ramirez, your teammate, asks, what are your goals for yourself and as a teammate for the season?
Well, after this weekend, I decided to come up with one of my player goals, which is be more consistent in front of the goal. And as a teammate goal, I'm gonna say being very coachable and being able to be successful as a team or as a unit to all the successes we want to do.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So I typed up a couple questions, and of course, Angel, I've known you for dude. You could you were 6. You were 6, something like that. 5, 6 year olds. You're essentially a cousin, but going through this process, I have had a lot of friends try out, and I cut them. I had other people try out and reach out to me. I was straight up to them. I don't think you're at the level yet. Keep training, and then we'll see from there. And so, of course, I've seen you develop through the youth. You played at Barcelona, went to a Samba, Wizards, and so forth, right? Seen you develop to high school, become what you are now. What do you think is something that stayed the same?
I'm going to say my mindset stayed the same. Always pushing through and not giving up, even though, like I say, everybody's going to have a bad day. And you just got to push through it and not give up, and let's see what's the outcome. Yeah,
okay. So for the casual fan, what do you do outside of soccer?
I love playing basketball.
Yeah.
So I hang out with my friends and we play basketball a lot. I also sing. I'm in a choir for the Red Oak High School, so I do that a lot. But mostly, I think I'm just really active, so all I do is play sports with my friends, with my little brother, and my little sister sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. You keep yourself in activities outside the sport, and I think it's good to also be able to distress from away of something that you might be just too focused at for a moment, and just peel away and then come back to it. You know, re-energized. But so for the younger players that are looking maybe to join a Storm in the youth academies or or play up a different level and meet new players, meet new teammates, what advice do you have for players that are timid, that sometimes they don't want to get out of their comfort zone?
Well, I can tell you, I was one of those kids that was really shy. When I went to the Wizards, I was one of the kids that just was on the side. I didn't want to interact with no one, I didn't want to talk. Then slowly I just went in. But what that taught me was you're not going to build up chemistry nor teammates. So what I'll tell you is just once you go, get a ball, just one player, hey, let's pass. And then slowly other players will join. And that's how you build up like more friendship, more friends, more teammates. Anything else, it'll just keep you from not being that shy.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think that's all the questions I had for that.
Well, I think we've gone on for a good a bit of time today. Thank you to Angel. Make sure you come and watch and play. We're going to have coming up tickets for sale for our home schedule. We do have the schedule that's going to be coming out, and as a schedule reveal, that'll be coming out in the next probably tomorrow, maybe the day after. So keep a lookout for that. What do we have coming up? We got one game this weekend. Paul Quinn College, an ex-alumni player from Storm, is coaching Paul Quinn College. So we're playing against them on Saturday. So it'll be another time, hopefully 30 minutes.
It's 4 p.m.
Oh, so 4 p.m. Sorry. What did I say?
I don't think you said it.
Okay, 4 p.m. at Paul Quinn College. Again, another opportunity for the boys to go out and play against some decent opposition and again get closer to that March the 30th first game for the UPSL. Again, remember, put down some comments, what you want to see, what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. We're going to be looking to do in the future. We've got our third podcast coming up as well. We're going to be bringing in more guests and other coaches and maybe some parents so we can talk a little bit about their from their side of things. Apart from that, I hope you enjoyed. Please, again, subscribe down below. Peace out. Storm FC TV.